What's going on, guys, and welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where every single week I, Graham G.S. Matthews, break down all the content that I watch on the WWE Network. I've been looking forward to this one for a while now. Today we're talking WWE 24, WrestleMania Orlando, otherwise known as WrestleMania 33. It aired after the Rumble pay-per-view last Sunday, January 28th, 2018, the fourth consecutive year we've had a 24 special on WrestleMania. Immediately after the Rumble, I think it was the 2015 Rumble where they started this. It was in the outrage and the aftermath of that awful Rumble pay-per-view, specifically the Rumble match, where they had aired the WrestleMania New Orleans, the WrestleMania 30 special from WWE 24. It might have been the first ever WWE 24 special they ever did. I don't recall exactly, but it was great. And every 24 special they've done since then has been excellent. They have yet to do a bad 24 special. They did one on, obviously WrestleMania 30, then 31, 32, now 33. This one I've been specifically looking forward to for a while now, if only because I was there. I was in attendance for this event, and it was one of, no joke, the greatest weekends of my life. Just so amazing, start to finish. Such an amazing area in Orlando, and all the activities and events, WrestleMania 33 itself. Just unbelievable. So I will be breaking that down here today on WWE Network and Chill. We kick off the episode with a lot of press for WrestleMania in Orlando. All the local, news stations picking up on WrestleMania being in town and everyone doing media and whatnot. Naomi talks about feeling at home, feeling no stress, because she talks about being home in Orlando. She hails from Orlando, and she thanks the fans for their support, because if it wasn't for their support, she wouldn't be where she is today. She recalls her title win of the SmackDown Women's Championship at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view in early 2017, and then her subsequent injury. It was in that same match, I believe, with Alexa Bliss at Elimination Chamber where she suffered the injury, and she had to relinquish the gold, I think, about 8-9 days later on SmackDown. And it was a real question mark as to whether she'd be back in time for WrestleMania in Orlando. The title win, the title defense in her hometown of Orlando wrote itself. So, as she revealed here, which was already common knowledge by this point, she was cleared the week of WrestleMania. She returned on the SmackDown before WrestleMania. She competed that Sunday and won the SmackDown Women's Championship, which I'll get to later on. I was kind of surprised at the time that they wouldn't wait until WrestleMania to bring her back out as a surprise, but maybe they figured because the match was going on so late in the show that wouldn't get as big of a reaction, or they wanted to advertise her for the match to get people excited about the match. I'm not exactly sure. So anyway, John Cena and Kurt Angle reunite at the WWE Hall of Fame. Obviously, Kurt Angle was the headliner for that year's class. John Cena inducting him. Nikki Bella says that for Cena, it was a huge honor to do the induction, obviously, given their close relationship from over the years in WWE. Miz and Maurice recall their journey to WrestleMania. 1 year ago at that time, they weren't even on TV together. Maurice and Miz have obviously been together for a while now. But on TV, Maurice didn't come in until the night after WrestleMania on Raw. And in that year, they had really, in my opinion, taken WWE by storm. Just a match made in heaven. Not only real-life relationship-wise, but on TV, just the perfect heel couple. And they were so perfect on SmackDown for the year they were together for. Miz talks about the John Cena and Nikki Bella feud with Miz and Maurice, and that it was so great. Miz even recalls that there was a lot of hesitation from fans going into the match when it was first initially rumored on the dirt sheets right after the Rumble, and I was among them. I mean, at the time, I was actually probably in favor of it, because I remember talking to RJ about it, saying, hey, you know what, this kind of sounds a little cool. Kind of gets Cena out of the spotlight for WrestleMania, and it makes sense, especially if Cena proposes. But what made that feud really must-see for me on the road to WrestleMania last year was that, as Miz said here, and Maurice as well, that she kind of echoed his thoughts, it felt real. It felt real, and you can feel the bad blood between Miz and Cena, especially between Maurice and Nikki Bella. That's what I really enjoyed about that feud. The match was alright. It wasn't great by any means, but it was the feud they had and the promos they were cutting. It was so great to see. Anyway, Alexa Bliss is amazed to be at WrestleMania. She recalls being a part of Triple H's entrance at WrestleMania 30, 3 years earlier, and now she's walking into WrestleMania, the SmackDown Women's Champion. And she's so happy to see her face on a chair that someone's going to be sitting in later on in the night. So that's pretty adorable. Anyway, big cast, Kevin Owens, Big Show, and Charlotte Flair all recall their WrestleMania 24 memories. Big Cass and Kevin Owens were in the crowd for that WrestleMania. Big Show is facing Floyd Money Mayweather in one of the best celebrity matches in WWE history, in my opinion. And Charlotte was watching her dad retire against Shawn Michaels that night in that very same building. We get a rare appearance here on the show. What I loved more about anything else about this 24 special, and the whole thing is amazing. I'll talk about it on the whole in the end, at the end of this review. But what I really, really liked about it was that we got some in-depth comments from The Undertaker. Yes, The Undertaker, I don't want to say is all over this thing, but you hear way more from The Undertaker in this special than probably anything else he has done in the last, 15, 20 years. Out of character, that being said, out of character, that is. He talks a lot about, dealing with injuries and not wanting to be a parody of himself. It was really interesting to hear him say that, just because people would argue that's become the case in recent years. And I was thinking while he was saying that, when was the last truly great Undertaker match we had? What was it? The Roman Reigns match I did not think was all that good at all. I thought they told a decent story, but overall was not what it could have been a few years ago. The match with Shane at WrestleMania 32 was beyond boring as all hell. That was not a good match. 31, the Bray Wyatt match was okay. Forgettable, but okay. The Brock Lesnar match at 30 was terrible. He did have a few matches in between. At Hell in the Cell in 2015, SummerSlam 2015, Survivor Series that year. He wrestled a handful of matches in 2015. The Taker-Lesnar match at SummerSlam was good. The Hell in the Cell match I thought was great. Maybe not the best match of the year, but it was really, really good. And that was the last time I would say that Taker had his last great match in WWE. And he talks about dealing with the injuries, like I said, and all that stuff and whatnot. Like I said, he doesn't want to become a parody of himself, which is interesting because, like I said before, a lot of fans feel like he already has. So we see fans tailgating outside the arena, just doing dumb stuff and getting ready for WrestleMania. There's a lot of dumb wrestling fans out there. Surprise, surprise. Nikki Bella talks about being healthy this year's for this year's WrestleMania as opposed to last year where she had to walk down the ramp at WrestleMania 32 with a neck brace around her neck. She was coming off a neck surgery in late 2015. This year she is healthier, not 100% healthy though. She talked about this on an episode of Total Bellas, I think, a few months ago. But basically, on one of the episodes of SmackDown before WrestleMania, I think it was a mixed tag team match, or I think Cena faced like Fandango. And Tyler Breeze was dressed up as Nikki Bella. And when Nikki Bella speared him, she messed up her neck. Not significantly, but she had to go to her doctor, and they only found out literally days before the show that she could compete. Otherwise, they would have pulled her off the card. What they would have done instead, I have no idea. Because it was rumored at the time that would be Nikki Bella's final match in WWE for a while. But no one knew what the plan would have changed to, had she not been able to wrestle. It probably would have turned into John Cena and Miz, a WrestleMania 27 rematch, but that would have been even worse than what we ended up getting in the ring. But anyway, she's obviously very happy to be a part of WrestleMania this time around, and she recalls the wedding proposal speculation. There was a lot of speculation from fans that the whole reason they were doing this feud in the first place was so Cena could propose to Nikki on the grandest stage in the mall. But Cena had been very stern in the past, very adamant about telling Nikki, we're never going to get married, so just get over it. In so many words, on past episodes of Total Bellas and Total Divas and in interviews and stuff like that. So she didn't want to get her hopes up. And she also says that John Cena was a bit short with her on the day of WrestleMania. Well, obviously it's WrestleMania. There's a lot of stress in the air, a lot of stuff you had to focus on, so that was to be expected. But little did she know what would happen later on in the night. Anyway, we get a quick shot of Seth Rollins going through his entrance and recalling his WrestleMania 32 experience, where he had to sit on the sidelines with an injury. And, he had to miss that WrestleMania because he was out for a while with that injury. And now he's back at WrestleMania 33 in one of the marquee matches of the night against Triple H, doing the whole fire entrance, which was one of the more memorable moments from the show, in my opinion. Roman Reigns talks about his upcoming match with The Undertaker on the show and the respect that people have for Undertaker, what a sacred spot this is for him to have on the WrestleMania card. John Cena gets lost, which was pretty funny. So he's walking throughout the arena, and he's talking to the cameras, doing essentially a play-by-play of what happened. He's like, I came back here because we had parked on the other side of the arena yesterday, and now I'm lost, and I have no idea where I'm going. I'm inspecting the ladders over here. I'm not actually lost. Blah, blah, blah. Just Cena being funny, and which is fitting because when I was there too, I know he's talking about the bowels of the arena. But I could hardly find anything when I was at Camping World Stadium. We got there like just in time for the kickoff show. We missed maybe like 10 seconds of Neville and Aries, who were completely removed from his special, by the way. They had showed the kickoff show, which I'll get to momentarily. But they showed the kickoff show and, the Ambrose Corbin match and the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. No sign of Neville and Aries, which was obviously no coincidence. Neville is no longer, or Aries is no longer with the company. Neville he might as well be gone, but he hasn't been seen in months because he walked out in the company, which was one of the best matches of the night. Whatever. So that being said, what I was getting at there was that the arena was so confusing to get around. It was so hard to navigate because there was no fucking signs telling you where to go. I was trying to find my seat. It took me at least 15 to 20 minutes to find my fucking seat in that place. It was so tough to get around because no one knew where the hell they were going. In an arena with 70,000 people in it, you gotta have better signs. The place is a shithole. When you sit in your seats, it's great. The arena is amazing. But getting around was a fucking nightmare. Anyway, Naomi's excited for her SmackDown Women's title match. And like I said earlier, she feels no stress, no pressure, maybe because of those hometown vibes in Orlando. Then we see the Hardy Boys run from one bus to another into the arena. They talk about the return to WWE, coming home, as they said. Matt Hardy calls it magical, delightful, as he would say. They're getting ready in the truck and all this other stuff. And then as the entrances for the Raw Tag Team title match, kick off and people are making their entrance, from what it looks like, Sheamus and Cesaro are walking to the ring, and at that moment is when Matt and Jeff run to Gorilla to make their entrance for the match. So they really went to great lengths to hide the Hardys on that show. And then I remember, and I've talked about it before, there was a lot of speculation regarding whether they're going to be there, are they still with the Ring of Honor, and if they're not, will they be on, even if they did, re-sign with WWE, would they be on the Raw after WrestleMania? They very well could have waited if they wanted to. But nope, WWE brought them back just in time for WrestleMania to win the Raw Tag Team titles, which was, to say it's amazing would really honestly be an understatement. The greatest thing I've ever seen live. And I've been to a lot of wrestling shows. And I've seen a lot of amazing matches in person too. Nothing comes close to seeing the Hardys return at WrestleMania 33. Because that was really the only thing I wanted to see that weekend. And when it happened, I lost my fucking mind. Honestly, it almost brings me to tears thinking about it and rewatching it and stuff like that, because it was one of those moments that you will never, ever, ever forget. It killed my voice for a solid week. Kind of hard to forget that. But anyway, so they're getting ready to go out for the match. And we see the New Day kind of hyping it up, like who's going to be the fourth team in the Raw Tag Team title match. Will it be them? Then the vintage Hardy Boys music hits. The place goes nuts. And mind you, this is a 70,000 person arena that fits 70 to 80,000 people. And the reaction was insane. Because in those type of arenas, you get big pops and stuff, but largely for WrestleManias, you don't get that hot of a crowd because there's so many people, and it's hard to kind of capture the noise, especially in an open stadium with no roof on it. With this one, the pop was unreal. Imagine if this happened on Raw. The reaction that Brock got the Raw after WrestleMania 28 was so great was because it was a smaller arena. It was the Amway Center, also in Orlando. I think so. Or maybe it was in Miami. I don't remember. Pretty sure it was in Miami. But the reaction was so amazing because it was in a smaller arena. Yet this was not in a smaller arena, and they blew the frickin' roof off the place that wasn't even there. And that they being including me because I was there. Oh, it was unbelievable. So we get shots of all the fans in the crowd losing their minds. And one of the greatest Michael Cole calls I've ever heard. One of my favorites anyway. Things are about to be broken when they make their way out to the ring. The Hardy Boys, that is. Again, unbelievable. Even, almost 10 months removed. Almost exactly 10 months removed from this moment happening. I still watch it back to this day. The moment and fans' reactions, because that's how amazing this was to me. So, anyway, they go back to the ring, or they go back to the backstage area after winning the Raw Tag Team titles and completing their expedition of gold. Big Show greets them, and he's like, "What the fuck you been raving me for? Why didn't you tell me?" And he's so happy to see him. It was so funny to see. AJ Styles, thrilled to see him too. All these people, so great. It was an awesome moment. Matt Hardy said it was the coolest moment of his career. And it was one of the coolest moment for me as a fan, seeing it live. Just, oh, I love that return. Anyway, Naomi calls her title win, which she, won later on in the night, a dream come true in her native Orlando of all things as well. Jimmy Uso told her, for years and years and years, don't give up, don't be so hard on yourself. It's going to happen one day, and ultimately it did. Maurice and Miz have their match with John Cena and Nikki Bella. That's Cena and Nikki win, but Maurice says that's a moment that her and Miz will share for years to come. Being on the grandest stage of them all, significant others, a couple, having that WrestleMania moment was unbelievable for them. John Cena goes up for the match as well. He makes his entrance. And I've never seen this before. I know he talked about it on Total Bellas a few months ago. But he goes out to the mat. He goes out to the ring, and I've seen this WrestleMania back a few times. Surprise, surprise, because I wanted to rewatch it. But you see Cena jump in the ring, and he goes, "Holy shit!" Like you audibly hear him say, "Holy shit!" They bleep it out in the special, obviously. But he goes, "Holy shit! My mom's here." Because apparently his mom has not gone to many shows, which blows my mind for as long as this guy has been on top. Well over 15 years at this point. Yet she has not been to many shows, let alone a WrestleMania. She doesn't like to travel, apparently. Cena says that she doesn't quite get the magnitude that is WrestleMania and doesn't really truly understand how big it is. But he goes to the ring, and only then does he spot his mom in the front row, and he's genuinely shocked. And you can see that it meant a lot to him, too. And what better night to come to one of his shows than the night that he gets, engaged to his longtime girlfriend, which is pretty amazing. Anyway, so Cena says that he was ready to propose years ago, which was interesting. I know the whole story that he told, that he had told Nikki when she went in for surgery that he was going to marry her one day. That was like late 2015. So maybe that's what he was talking about when he knew that he wanted to propose to her years ago. Of course, it had to happen at WrestleMania, so I'm not exactly sure whose idea it was, though it is revealed that Vince knew about the proposal too, and he was the only one. It was only John Cena and Vince McMahon, so I'm not sure who pitched it to who to do it at WrestleMania, but I don't know. There's something fishy going on there, but regardless, he had known that he was going to do it for a few years. Nikki thought that it would never happen. She never thought she would hear those words, that "Will you marry me?" That, him saying, "Will you marry me?" And obviously she said yes, and they start crying, and it's a great moment. I don't know. I enjoyed it. There were some people online that were like, "Oh, it's too fake, phony, whatever." I don't know. I liked it. So anyway, if you also want more behind-the-scenes footage of that, by the way, it's on I think the season finale of Total Bellas from a few months ago, because I know I've seen this before somewhere. Anyway, Cena calls it a career highlight. We then get Set It on Fire by Saints of Valerie playing as we see highlights of the rest of the WrestleMania card. Rollins cries. We see a shot of Rollins crying, Seth Rollins crying, coming out of his match with Triple H. He just starts bawling his eyes out. He just collapses on the ground when he gets back through the curtain, and he starts crying about how much it meant to him to be wrestling at WrestleMania, and the win was just the cherry on top after missing WrestleMania 32. So you can see how much it meant to him, which was really, really cool. Vince congratulates him backstage on the match. He says that was an unbelievable performance. So he really praised Rollins there. And it's not like he's blowing smoke up his ass either, because he shat all over Owens and Jericho at WrestleMania. So he wasn't, complimentary of everybody. Anyway, Roman Reigns says there is no way to prepare for this situation going into his match with The Undertaker. And then the match happens, and they show highlights of it, and Roman Reigns says that's one of those moments where it's like, that's it. And he knows that Taker's career is over, or at least he assumes it is. We still don't know. I guess we'll find out soon. He called it heartbreaking to be the one to end The Undertaker's streak. Then we hear from Undertaker again. He called it surreal to seemingly wrestle his final match. And this is what I found most interesting about this too. He said he was content, and I quote, "I am content riding off into the sunset after that match." So it's obvious that Taker would, be fine with being done after that Roman Reigns match. He doesn't say anything about the match not being good after what he said earlier on in the special about, not wanting to be a parody of himself, which at this point I guess you can argue that he is, because his last few WrestleMania matches have not been all that good at all. And then he says, we'll see what tomorrow brings. And that's all we hear from Undertaker. So again, it's not much, but it's better than nothing. Like, I know they showed a real, like, the whole hook of WrestleMania 30, that 24 special, was like Taker collapsing backstage, taking to an ambulance. We didn't hear from Undertaker, we didn't hear from Vince, we just heard the ambulance, and that was it. So, it's kind of false advertising, but we legit heard from Undertaker here, which blew my mind, and it was really, really cool. So anyway, we get The Bravest is the name of the song by Sir Roosevelt to close out the special, showing highlights of WrestleMania 33 on the whole. So again, overall, amazing special. What else can I say? I've done a lot of these reviews in the past of WrestleMania Monday, WrestleMania 32. I might have done the WrestleMania 31. I don't know if I did the WrestleMania. I know I did 30 or 31 last year. I didn't do one or the other, and I'll get to it on the road to WrestleMania this year. I reviewed the Goldberg one, the Kurt Angle one, a few others, the Seth Rollins one. They're all great. They're all amazing, and this one is no exception. Again, for me, especially being there, brings back a lot of memories of, like I said, the greatest weekend of my life. Just a lot of fun, amazing events. WrestleMania itself was quite the spectacle, and that's Sunday night, April 2nd, 2017. So this might be, again, for those biased, selfish reasons alone, my favorite 24 special to date. But even if you weren't there, you're still going to enjoy the hell out of this show. This was really, really cool. Hearing from Undertaker was amazing. Even if it wasn't much, it was really cool to see and hear Undertaker out of character for a change, which you don't ordinarily get to see more often than not. Not even more often than not, never. Like, you never get to hear Undertaker out of character. The song choices were great. I liked who they focused on here with the Hardy Boys, and I thought we were getting a Hardy Boys 24 special. I guess not. This was the 24 special, was them returning at WrestleMania. I think we are still getting a Hardy Boys DVD at some point this year, which would be cool. Because I know Rebby Hardy, Rebby Hardy, whatever you want to call her, was interviewed for something recently, and it was probably the Hardy Boys DVD, which I cannot wait to get my hands on later on this year. But yeah, we see, they focus on Roman Reigns, the Hardys, Miz and Maurice, Cena and Nikki. And that's really about it. We get some comments from Seth Rollins and a few others. So overall, it's a great special. Amazing, even. Definitely check it out on the WWE Network. So that being said, folks, tomorrow right here on the channel, I will have my final Total Divas review for a while. It is the season 7 finale, of the show for the foreseeable future. I know Total Bellas is confirmed to be returning at some point in the next few months. I believe in the springtime, they said. No set date yet. But I will be talking about that a few months from now. In the meantime, though, going forward, I will continue to review whatever airs after Raw on the WWE Network, and if nothing airs after Raw on the network, I will review whatever else on the network. Whatever else is from the archives. For WWE Network and Chill moving forward solely on Mondays. So no more Sunday shows in this show's place. Moving forward on Sundays here on the channel, I'll probably put up old interviews and stuff like that. So anyway, guys, be sure to like this video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. All that stuff is amazingly appreciated. And just have an awesome rest of your weekend. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.